The first sighting on them, this would have been late in the fall of 1953. The only typhoon I ever saw, and actually I was able to take that movie picture of it myself. Now this again was in 1954 when I took that one, and I threw it in here as we had done quite a bit of work. Now we're back to 1954 at the salvage yard working here. As you can see, we had put up a few more buildings. Of course, inside those Butler buildings, we had other men taking care of the motor pool work, our supply work, and preparing it to accept salvage from the Air Force. And we had to turn over a building or two along to them, even though we weren't near finished. But it's a hurry up and make do the best you can in the military, especially with the Corps of Engineers. And when we had a piece of equipment go out and it sat idle, we were hurting. That's why the picture you just saw, so many of them sitting still. Here we've got a crane with a 1-yard hopper, we call it, lifting it from the concrete truck and pouring it into the little narrow foundation wall that we had. Quite a job to do by hand. But the guys could do it. Took a little jerking. It was a lot better with a 6-yard truck than the 14-sack mixer, but if you only can have a 14-sacker, you use her. Now we're having to do a little clearing at getting into the up Moonshine Valley Road to where it hit the new bypass road we're having to build from Stephenville to Stephenville Crossing to keep the civilian population off the base. Because when we got there in 1953, the main highway road went straight through the base, and there was really no way that it could be safeguarded. And if we'd ever shot a civilian, you know what happened to us. So the military decided, or the State Department decided, the military had to build a bypass road. That's hence the term you've heard me be using. Here's where we hit the bypass road at this end next to Stephenville. So we had to start working from there to get to Cold Duck Creek and Cormier Village River, as we could not get but 1/2 of the right-of-way when I got there. The government and the military had only contracted and bought from the local population 50 foot of the 100-foot right-of-way. So I got kind of fed up with having to wait on that bit and went out and did some horse trading with the people Of course, it sometimes got me in a wee bit of trouble, but I never got hung. So I horse traded around here and there and picked up the other half, the north half of the right-of-way, and we were able then to finish it up. Now that's a typical shot we're doing 50 feet when we were trying to clear out the whole amount of 100 feet. And that's hard work, as you can see there. But it didn't take too long till in the spring of 1954, in the summer, I was able to start building it all the way, the whole 100-foot width. That's the half of it. We couldn't do anything but yell, scream, and cuss, but we had to do it. Of course, Jack didn't like, or Bert didn't like it either. Sorry, I keep slipping that word Jack. That was my first puppy when I was 4 years old. Now that half I almost decided we didn't need. It was so much trouble to finish it off. But we did finish it. These are logs, they're floating down the river. Those weren't ours, of course. That's the Newfoundlanders. They didn't have trucks to haul them on, so they floated them. Smart thinking. Back at the rock crusher at Knowles Pond here. Now we're getting into 1955, the early part. So we were able by now to have our own concrete mixer set up, and we could pour and build a bridge then, where we never would have done it with 14-sack mixers. We're just taking a look around now from the base salvage yard entrance road as to how they're operating down at the J.A. Jones Construction Company with its asphalt plants and concrete plants and rock crusher. They had them a little bit better than we, but we got the job done. This plant here I actually constructed and built in 1967 when I went to work for Tyler Breslin and J.
Pershing and Cedric Ray came to visit us when they were 7 years old. They flew up from Key West, Florida, and Ray and I took them on a camping trip. We left from Woodstock and went up to Goderich to see his other grandmother, and we stopped en route at every town going through and let them get and tumble on all the playground equipment. They had a ball. We had the trailer pulled behind our little Toyota, and they had arrived with their tags around their necks with Air Canada. Our dog Jack is there to play with them, and every time they'd have a fight or disagreement, we'd put the dog between them in the back seat. We went up to Phyllis and John's farm, Joan's older sister. Jan is there, and also Joan's mother, Kathleen and Stan, and they were there visiting. And we went out on the farm and let the boys run and see the cows, do the milking, help them on the tractor. I think that's Gay there. And then you'll see Cedric inside the tractor with his uncle. They were 7 years old then. Cedric was very blind. Noah was his best friend, so we invited the two boys to come for 3 years in a row, and they flew up from Key West and spent 2 weeks with us. We're down at the Lion Safari, just out of Dundas, and these are lions that are lying all over the pasture. You can drive through the safari, and the animals will come to your car. You see the black bear at the car in front of us. And the monkey is carrying her baby on its back. The giraffe in the distance, elephants. They have rhinoceros. Bus tours will go through. It takes you about an hour and a half to 2 hours to drive through the safari park. And you can stop at any time and see the animals, but they ask you to keep your windows rolled up at all times. A buffalo. Cedric and Noah had a ball at this. But we went up to Point Farms in Goderich and spent the night in a campsite, camped with the boys. They're on our front, quite so clear. And here is Cedric Ray and Noah Perigine 1 year later when they were 8 years old. They had come back up to Canada again to visit us. They're running on the lawn with Bert in our backyard in Woodstock, Ontario. He loved these guys. They were 8 years old and had flown in from Key West.